We also teach that there is a 5-step data analysis process. Most data analysis only always go straight to just cleaning data, fixing errors, and using Excel, Google Sheets, Power BI to begin to spot trends and draw those beautiful charts. But that is really not where the data analysis process start from. A very good data analyst will first start by asking the right business questions. And it's very important to ask questions because, let's say, for instance, you're just resuming as a junior data analyst for a role. You pretty much do not even know what the role is about. You don't know what the business is about. You do not know what the products look like, right? You can't just jump in and start asking or demanding that, you start accessing their data. You want to try and ask questions so that you can have more understanding about the business, about the client, about the product, about the service, okay, so that you can actually understand what the problem you have been employed to solve looks like, okay? So start your process first by trying to ask, and you're asking to understand, okay? And when you're done asking and understanding what the problem of that business is, the next thing you want to do is to start preparing. So you can prepare by collecting the data from sources like apps, like surveys, like the social media analytics or the insights, and the CRM. There are so many sources of data that exist in a business, okay, depending on the kind of business, whether it's an e-commerce business, whether it's a technology company, okay? So you just also want to understand where the different data the business generates resides and collecting those data into a certain point. Once you're done preparing data, the next thing you want to do is to begin to process or transform that data, okay? So you can do this by cleaning the data, spotting errors and fixing those errors, removing, say, duplicated names or duplicated fields. You could also correct dates. There are certain times where, some data can come, let's say, for instance, a number can come in the form of a text. So it's your responsibility, for instance, to spot that. This particular data is numerical data, okay? And it should appear as such. So that's the process of cleaning that data. And then from there, you now move to the analysis, okay? This is where you now begin to use tools like Excel, Power BI, and Google Sheets to spot trends, to look for patterns, and to find relationships. And when you're done with this, the 5th step is to present your findings, either through charts. We have bar charts, pie charts. We would learn and would see the different charts that are available at your disposal. But it's very important for a data analyst to be able to present their findings, to either their line manager at the management meeting, or to the CEO if you have if he's your direct boss, okay? Now, a lot of analysts only sit from the 3rd process to the 4th process, all right? And sometimes as data analysts, we can get carried away with building beautiful dashboards, okay? You want your dashboards to be colorful, you want them to be interactive. But the truth is, if you're done with all of that and nobody can make business decisions from what you have built, it's pretty much useless, regardless of how beautiful that dashboard looks, regardless of how colorful it looks, okay? And that's why I always teach this 5-step process to data analysis. Ask questions, okay? If you work in an organization, you're not looking stupid. You're actually trying to help by understanding the business, understanding the product, understanding the service, so that you can solve the problem. Because let's give, for instance, you're an employee. You have actually been hired by the company to solve a problem, all right? And you can only solve the problem when you know what the problem is, when you understand the business effectively. You cannot do that if you don't ask questions. So ask questions, prepare, process, analyze, and share your insights.